In this video, we will be discussing the Design Risks page. The objective of risks in SQM is to record and assess the firm's quality risks. Risks are recorded when there is a possibility that one or more of the firm's quality objectives may be adversely affected. Risks can be found in the Design module. This page includes a table that contains network risks and firm risks. There are no mandatory risks prescribed by the applicable quality management standards. Network risks are those risks that are prescribed by the firm's network firm, where the firm belongs to a network. The network firm will distribute the prescribed risks, which are then imported in settings. The firm must then consider if the network risks are relevant to them. Firm risks are those risks that are recorded by the firm and are in addition to the network risks. Risks included in the table can only be edited in draft status. If a risk has already been signed off as prepared, the sign-off must be removed before the risk can be edited. To edit a risk already in the table, click on the Expand button to show the record of the risk. Select the Edit button to open the risk dialog. The content of the risk is then edited as needed, and the changes saved by clicking on the Save button. Risks can be deleted by expanding the risk and selecting the Delete button. If a risk has been signed off as prepared, the sign-off must be removed before the risk can be deleted. Note that network risks cannot be deleted. If the risk does not apply to a firm, it will be marked as Not Relevant only. These risks are therefore not carried forward in the firm's design of the system of quality management. Only risks selected as relevant and signed off as prepared will be considered finalized and therefore included in the draft system of quality management and published where the firm approves and publishes the draft system of quality management. Every relevant risk must therefore be signed off as prepared once finalized. The risk dialog can be completed by either adding a new risk or by editing a risk from the list of risks already included in the table. When completing a network risk, some of the fields will be pre-populated and cannot be edited. The risk dialog contains the following fields to be completed. Linked objectives, where the objectives that may be impacted by the risk are listed in this field. Title, which is the short title for this risk. The title is visible in tables and when selecting items from libraries. It should therefore be concise but clearly indicate what the risk is. ID, which is the unique identification number for this risk. Type. No input is required in this field. The field is automatically completed based on the process that was followed to include the risk. Relevant, where the firm selects either yes or no. The default is yes to indicate that the risk is relevant to the firm. Reason for not relevant. This field appears when the firm has indicated that the risk is not relevant to the firm. It is a compulsory field. Risk. This is the field where the wording of the firm risk is recorded. When a risk is selected from the library, the firm will edit the risk to align with the firm's unique characteristics. Network risks cannot be edited, and the additional description field can be used to provide more context to a prescribed risk. Additional description. In this field, the firm can include an additional description of the risk, if it is considered necessary. Where network risks are selected as relevant, a firm may choose to provide more context to the risk in this field. Applicable standards. Select the standard or standards that the risk relates to. Where the firm has only selected one applicable standard, then no selection is required. Authoritative references can be included where relevant. Links, where documentation saved elsewhere can be linked to this risk. Risk assessment probability of occurrence. Select an option from the drop-down menu to reflect your assessment of the possibility that this risk may occur. Risk assessment effect on achievement of objectives. Select an option from the drop-down menu to reflect your assessment of the degree to which the risk may adversely affect the achievement of the quality objectives. Risk assessment result. No input is required in this field. This field automatically reflects the results determined in the firm's risk assessment matrix, which is recorded in design setup. Response required. No input is required in this field. This field automatically reflects the firm's required level of response based on the risk assessment results. The required results are recorded in design setup. In the reason for risk ratings field, the firm documents how and the degree to which conditions, events, circumstances, actions or inactions affect the firm's assessment of the probability of occurrence and the effect on the achievement of the quality objectives. Response required judgment. When the response required is indicated as Apply Judgment, select an option from the drop-down menu to record the type of response that has been decided on. In the Reason for Response Required field, the firm documents their judgment made to decide which response is required for the assessed risk. Include any additional notes or comments in the Note field. Previously recorded policy responses can be linked to this risk using the drop-down menu in the Linked Policy Responses field. When a policy response is recorded later, the link to this risk will be recorded when completing the policy response dialog. The Effective From field is an optional field and can be left blank if the system will become effective immediately on publishing it to the firm's system of quality management. When a risk is only effective from a specific date in the future, that effective date is recorded in this field. The risk can then be recorded and published before the effective date. The Effective To field is an optional field and should be left blank if the risk will remain in effect for the foreseeable future. When it is decided that a risk will no longer be applicable from a specific date, the date on which the risk will no longer apply to the firm's system of quality management is recorded in this field. The change can then be published to the firm's system of quality management in advance, and the risk itself will be in operation until the effective date is reached. Fields indicated with a red asterisk indicate fields that must be completed before the risk can be saved. Fields indicated with a blue asterisk are not required to be completed before the risk can be saved, but must be completed before the risk can be signed off as prepared. When the relevant information has been recorded in the risk, save the information in the dialog. Before continuing with the rest of the design of the firm's system of quality management, the firm should have considered each network risk and indicated whether they are relevant or not, recorded any additional risks that may have been identified, and assessed those risks to determine whether a response is required. Finally, all relevant risks should have been signed off as prepared. You now know how to complete the Design Risks page. This page also contains the following features. Please continue watching for more on the features available on this page. SQM provides the user with various features when working with content in tables. These include group the content by columns, choose which columns to show, filter columns, search for values in columns, expand rows, sort content by columns, and resize columns. Note that customizations made on the view are not persistent, and the table returns to the default view when the page is refreshed. To export data in a dialog or on a page, select the Export All Data icon. A new Excel file will be downloaded to the Downloads folder, from where the user can use the file. Note that this exported file is not in a format that can be re-imported into SQM. To work on an Excel template where content can be imported into SQM, go to Settings, Import. To sign off an item indicating that it is prepared, reviewed, or that the responsibility is accepted, the user selects the Sign Off icon. The Sign Off icon will be replaced by the avatar of the user that signed off. A toast is also reflected at the bottom right corner. To remove the sign-off, select the avatar and click on Remove Sign-Off. The sign-off icon will reappear, and a toast at the bottom right corner will confirm that the sign-off has been removed. Links or URLs can be added to documentation saved elsewhere. URLs can either be to a document in the Caseware Cloud instance or to another location, such as the firm's SharePoint library. To add a link or URL to another document, select the option to add a new annotation. In the dialog, add the link to the field and a note for other users to understand what the document is. Click Save. The newly added link will be indicated by a link icon. Hover over the icon to see the URL and the note for that link. In predefined instances, more than one link can be added. This will be indicated by the Add a New Annotation icon located below the link icon. To add a new item, select the Quick Create icon. Select the item to be added from the drop-down menu. Only items relevant to your role and the module you are in will be displayed. A dialog will open for the newly created item. Complete the dialog and click on Save to save the item, or click on Close to discard and exit. Thank you for watching.